ជំរាបសួរបងប្អូនទាំងអស់គ្នាចានេះខ្ញុំថនមូលិកាជា Managing Director នៅក្រុមហ៊ុន MACY VISA ហើយថ្ងៃនេះសប្បាយចិត្តមែនតើហើយមានឱកាសក្នុងមក visit ក្រុមហ៊ុនចា Global Express Recruiting ហើយមានឱកាសបានសម្ភាសជាមួយនឹង Manager អញ្ចឹងបងប្អូនទាំងអស់គ្នាអាចស្ដាប់សំណួរដែលខ្ញុំនឹងសួរជូនបងប្អូនទាំងអស់គ្នាសម្រាប់ process EB3 program នៅថ្ងៃនេះ Say hello ជំរាបសួរ thank you so much to allow me to introduce myself allow me to come to your office today.
Absolutely.
And could you please say hello and introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Chris Stone. I'm a senior manager here at Global Express Recruiting, and it's a great company to work for. It's
awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna have some questions regarding to the process of EB3 visa.
EB3 is the most popular visa out there by far. So yes, ask as many questions as you like.
Oh, thank you so much. So the first question is, what are the most common reasons for perm audit or deny from DOL? How do you mitigate this risk?
Well, so the biggest reason for denial for the EB3 for sponsors is they're too small. They can't prove two things. They can't prove, number one, that they have enough resources to pay all of the clients that are working there. And the second thing that they have trouble proving is that they have tried everything they can to hire a U.S. worker and been unable to do that. And if they can't prove those things, they don't have any chance of becoming a sponsor. They will be denied.
So that's why you work only the big
We
company.
only work with huge companies that are very successful. They are paying millions of dollars in taxes, and they can prove very easily. They have tried everything they can to hire U.S. workers, and they've been unable to do that.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. So
Sure.
we go into the question number 2. What are the top reasons for USCIS request for evidence or delay at the I-140 process?
Yeah, so the biggest reason, again, for the RAFs is to be able to prove that they have the financial resources to be a sponsor. And that goes back to the previous question. But if they can't prove that they have the financial resources, and that's why the small companies, they have a very difficult time proving that to USCIS, and that's why they get denied.
Oh, so this process on stage with the USCIS pending or denied is not because of the candidate, it's because of the sponsor.
Yeah, they did. So yeah, it's starting with the sponsor there. It's starting with that sponsor. And again, that's why we work with the large companies that are very profitable, very powerful, because we don't want to work with small companies where, they would be with us for a very short period of time and then all of a sudden falter and not be able to pay our clients. That would not look good for us. And so we only work with clients that we know are financially stable, that can pay our clients the monies that they are actually due.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay. One more third question. What happens if the candidate applicant is denied or at any stage? Is there any recourse or appeal process? Are there any fee refundable to the employee?
Yeah, that's a great question. And quite frankly, I get that from that question from our clients all the time. Is there a guarantee? Well, the guarantee is if you are honest throughout this whole process, you're probably going to be just fine. But the reason why we can't guarantee, the reason why we can't give people refunds is that would be considered in the United States selling visas, which is illegal. And so we can't guarantee that. We do everything we can to make sure this is profitable. In the last 2 years, we've only had one denial, and that's we are so cognizant about who we work with and the sponsors that are so good, and that's why this reputation in the United States. There's a thing called the Better Business Bureau, and this is an A+ rated company, and it doesn't get any better than that.
Thank you so much for the answer. Okay, the fourth question is, what are the biggest misconceptions about employer or candidate having about this process?
Wow, there's so many misconceptions out there. Some people think when they start this that they're going to have an extensive resume or backgrounds to do this. And it's just the opposite. With an EB-3 unskilled visa program, they're looking for unskilled workers.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have these backgrounds. But most of the people we work with tend to be professionals.
Yeah.
And so the one question I get all the time is, why would a sponsor for an unskilled position want to hire a person that's really solid? And the reason is very simple. They know they will be their best workers, because if they show up or don't show up to work, or show up drinking, or they show up getting in fights, they'll be deported. And so everything that they've worked for will be gone. And that's the last thing they want to do. They know, these sponsors, that the people we send them are probably going to be their best workers that they have.
So the high degree, and sometimes it's choice to work. Yes,
it is. A lot of people feel like, well, I'm overqualified for this job. And the answer is, you are. You're definitely overqualified for this job, but it's a means to an end. You're taking this EB-3 unskilled visa for a chance to have permanent residency for the rest of your life, and for all future generations. And that is it. So many of the that I've talked to said, this sounds too good to be true. You know, to walk into the United States with a green card. But the reality is, this program was put together because companies have tried everything they can to hire people, and they've gone to the government to say, we need a visa program that is so attractive to great people that they will fall over themselves to get. And that's really what the EB-3 Unskilled Visa Program is all about.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay. What are the specific requirements for an unskilled position under your program? Example, like minimum age, education, language proficiency.
Sure. The language proficiency is a one. For these employers, they require that the candidate be able to speak at least minimal English by the time they get here, because they have to understand the commands that they're being given. Otherwise, it would be an unsafe situation. So the great thing is, so if somebody's coming from Cambodia, they know that they'll have 2 to 4 years to be able to get at least a basic of English. You don't have to speak perfectly. They're not looking for that, but they are looking for a basic understanding of English. And a lot of people I've talked to, a lot of clients say, well, I don't know if I'd really qualify. Well, you don't have to have any qualifications for these unskilled labor positions, other than being a person that's eager to work, going to show up on time, do a good job. That's all they're looking for. That's all they're looking for. Yeah, that's truly all they're looking for.
Yes, that's great. Okay. And okay, now I know the question you know exactly what you're doing. What industry and job type are your U.S. employer client in, like manufacturing, hospitality?
So it's a great question. So we work hotels and looking for they're looking for housekeepers. They're looking for stewards to help out in the kitchen. They're looking for maintenance people. We work with operations like Nature's Way Farms, and they're looking for assembly line workers. You know, the one fear is when you hear Nature's Way Farms is some people think, well, I'll be out in the field planting and plowing. No, you'd be working on an assembly line. You know, you're an assembly line. Or with Kent Security, Kent Security is looking for armed and unarmed security guards, and you'd be trained. You know,
they can be unarmed. Yes.
Yeah. So you wouldn't just thrown into a job. You'd be trained. And Boucher Brothers is looking for beaches. And all they're looking for is people that are very personable. You know, that people bring someone a drink or open an umbrella for them. Just be very, very nice to them. That's all they're looking for.
I understand. Well, this job, I went there, so nice. What kind of marketing word or any message you provide? Do you have a compliant approved script or brochure we must use?
So the big thing I tell every client when I first talk to them, if you want to take notes, great, but don't worry about that, because I'm a very detailed person, and at the very end of this conversation, I'm going to send you a detailed recap of everything we're talking about. I'm going to send you the company forms that you would need to fill out, and I sent everybody a complete overview on the EB-3 Unskilled Visa process, and that is great because now it's in writing. Now they can bring this information to their spouse, to their family, to their friends, and they can really go over everything and have a clear understanding. And I tell everyone, if you have any questions, it doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes after we talk or 5 days or 5 months. All you have to do is call me, email me, text me, and I'll get right back with you to answer those questions, because we're here to help that client, right? I mean, the client,
That's very good.
we are here to help them in any way we can.
Professional service.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Very clear information and fast response. So one advice to one last word message you send to the client right now at the end of.
You know, I think the biggest thing is you can't get here until you take the first step. You know, you have to start the process. You have to get the paperwork filled out, because you can't start the process until you've been chosen. And so once that paperwork filled out, then you'll find out if you've been chosen. And then everything begins at that point. Everything it starts in earnest at that time. But you can't here until you take that first step. We can't take that step for you. That's up to you.
Decide now with MACY Visa and with the Global Express Recruiting Company. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for the day. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing.